I'm John Lockwood from Crafts2. I'm here with another technique video using the fantastic new Kaleido all-in-one die cutting, foiling and technique machine from Crafts2. And in this technique video I want to show you how we can press flowers and leaves to get the impressions into the paper. Now what I want to say is these are not pressed in, so these are completely smooth. What's actually happened is the colour and the texture and the pattern with the heat and the pressure has transferred to the paper, almost stamping it or printing it. And it all depends on what flower, what leaf you use, how wet they are, how dry they are. So try lots of different ones. You may not be successful on your first attempt, but you will find which flowers work, which leaves work better. And sometimes just leaving them to dry. This particular one with ivy I didn't like until it dried, and I thought, I love that. So leave them to dry a little bit. So I'm going to move the board out of the way, and what I've got here is two different types of card. This is your normal smooth stamping card that we'd use, 250 to 300 GSM, and this is a piece of watercolor card. So if you're using something and you want a lot of color, I would use the watercolor card. If you want to give quite a flat impression, then use the normal card, but I will show you on both. So all we're going to do is we make sure our Kaleido machine is on and is heated, and we're going to use a standard plate combination. Okay, so we're going to use the base plate, the 5mm plate, the 3mm plate, and then we'll use our card on top of that. And here I've got a flower. Now this has been left to dry a little bit, mainly because it was prepped and ready yesterday. So shall I just put that on wholesale? Let's have a look, see what we get. So I just put it down. I can put either another piece of paper on top or a piece of baking parchment on, again just to smooth it through. And if you're concerned about little edges, you can always tuck those under the 3mm plate just to give you a nice smooth sandwich. Okay, and then all we do is I'm going to bring in my Kaleido machine, feed it in as normal, and again slowly turn the handle and allow the heat and the pressure to work. And every time you do this, it's almost like, what's it going to come out like? Ooh, I like that. So because I put one flower in one place, we'll peel that off. I get that beautiful impression. And again, what you would do, just rub off, or what I tend to do, you can use a brush. Let me just grab my brush and brush off the actual bits of the flower, or again rub it off. You could take an eraser and do that, and that gives me that impression through. So again, perhaps if I'd used little petals, I would have got a different impression. It's every time you will get something different, and it's how you place it. So this time I'm going to take a piece of watercolor card, and I'm going to take some ivy, and just to show you, this is literally ivy from the garden that we picked earlier. So I'm just going to take some ivy leaves and just place them down in any sort of directional way that I want. Let's take that little fantasy fibre away. So we're almost making our own little background paper, and this is onto the watercolor card. So again, just randomly arrange them on the same plate combination, and then I'm going to once again take my kitchen sort of parchment, but I'm going to fold it over so I don't transfer any of that purple in case there's any left. Pop that on, lift up my 3 and fold it underneath. Nice and secure, I've got my sandwich. I'll then bring my Kaleido machine back in, and then we just put it in. Get the sandwich right first, John, in the right place. So we've got the pressure right. Just get it started. Have I put the wrong sandwich in? Probably, knowing me. There we go. Oh, it's not even. There we go. And again, slowly turn that. Allow the heat and the pressure to work, and it will transfer out some of the colour and some of the pattern. And as we peel that off, again, I can just peel the individual leaves off, and I'll get something different every time. So use my brush, just rub off the little bits there with my finger. And every time you do this, you'll get something different. Some leaves are more successful than others. Some you may need to trim down. And again, if you want to, get a little bit, get an eraser, and you can take the little bits of the plant off. There we go. And you've got a beautiful impression. And as you see, as this is drying, that's looking lovely. Imagine the little petals of that on there. Get some really nice different appears. So we're going to do one more, and this time I'm just going to use another piece of watercolor card. So I'm just going to trim this one down, and this time I'm going to wet it. So I'm just going to give it a spray on the top and on the back so that it doesn't already curl. Okay, and I'm going to cut this into two. Okay, so I'm going to put one piece down. I'm going to take these little daisy heads which have dried slightly, and just take these off. And these are quite juicy, so I should get some really nice colour out of this. Although what'll probably happen is every time you do this, it's a different thing. Sam did some beautiful ones. And again, sometimes the less you expect it to work, the more it does, and the more you think that's going to be perfect, it isn't. So I'm just going to take another piece of watercolor card on the top, and this is wet again. Again, bring my machine in, get my plates ready and jammed in, and my card ready. Turn the handle, start it going, and again, just press, and it almost sizzles, and the water helps to sort of seal in and take the excess. So we pull that through. Okay, and when I open those, wow, beautiful impression. I would leave that, because I've used it wet, I would leave that all to dry, and then once dry, brush off the excess pieces, and I'll be left with, let's just take these off now, almost like a soft, subtle, there we go, beautiful background paper. So you can make your own handmade papers and things with this and get some beautiful impressions. So there we've got 3 different ways, perhaps some are successful and some not as successful, but these are the ones that we did earlier. And again, this is with a full leaf. So you can see there, that's actually with a dry leaf, and we get that beautiful impression of it in there. So play around with different things, different textures, see what you can achieve with it. We've shown you the basic techniques. It's up to you now to fly and see what you can do.